In my previous video, I talk about what kind of camera gear I use to film all these like cinematic videos that I post on short form, or how I film my vlog. And the gear is basically A7C II and my 24mm f1.4 G Master. This combo right here, insane. But yeah, in this video, I'm going to talk about what kind of camera setting that I use and what kind of filming process that I usually go through whenever I'm filming, rather that's indoor or outdoor. Why am I keep doing this? Hi, editing piece here. I kind of described it wrong in the intro because I wrote zero script for this video. Basically, I just wanted to share my way to film cinematic footage wherever you go, whether that's indoor or outdoor with no lighting equipment. I've been filming a lot of vlogs and a lot of short form that's fully based on that. I really don't use excessive lighting equipment while I'm on the go shooting. So I just wanted to share my opinion and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Sorry for a bad quality video, but I think it looks not bad. Check it out. First, let's talk about my general camera setup whenever I'm shooting. So my general setup for my Sony cameras, whether that's FX3 that I'm filming right now or A7C II, is that the color profile will be an S-Log3, especially the S-Gamma3 Cine. I feel like that's, I guess it's the industry standard, but not only that, I used to film on S-Log on my A7 III and now FX3 and A7C II. So I'm familiar with S-Log, and since Sony created the S-Gamma3 Cine, the Cine profile for S-Log, just a Rec 709 conversion looks absolutely beautiful. I feel like a lot of stigmas that went around Sony cameras back in 2018 or like 2016 that Sony cameras are not really good at colors, I feel like it's different now, especially for videos. And I usually have Rec 709 conversion on the camera, so I really don't have to look at the log profile on the screen. I can just look at, and especially when I'm vlogging, I can just see the exposure. It's really like just, you know, straight intuitive decision how I expose my clip when I'm on the go. In terms of video codec, I usually go back and forth between XAVC HS and XAVC SI. Now the difference between these two are not, I'm not like super professional about video codecs. However, I know that HS is more compressed, so the file size is smaller. However, HS is really heavy for your PC, so you need like a powerful PC to edit. I'm not really too crazy about video codec. Whenever I'm doing professional work, I always put on the SI because that's like you getting the most out of your camera, and whenever I have to do professional work, you know, you really don't want to mess it up, so I just use the SI. Even the A7C II is a small camera. The footage that you're getting out of 4K S-Log3, HAVC SI, or even the HS, the file size is ginormous, so it's actually, you know, I don't know, HS might help you a lot, but I'm just gonna tell you, you're gonna spend a lot of money on SD cards and hard drives and SSD. But yeah, in terms of frame rates, I usually film on 24 frames per second, or if I'm using A7C II, it's 60 for slow motion. On FX3, I use 120 frames per second. Some people shoot in 30 frames per second, some people shoot in 24 frames per second. I think there's a lot of like debate between these two on the internet. Honestly, I really don't care. The amount of motion blur that you can get from 24 frames per second looks beautiful to me. Whenever subject is moving their arms, or like whenever you're shooting a static shot, and if like this elder gentleman on a bicycle just like going across the screen, and if there's like right amount of motion blur, I think that's absolutely beautiful. I have zero beef. If someone tell me that you have to shoot in 30 frames per second, I will shoot in 30 frames per second. I really don't give a f, but I just prefer 24. In terms of focus mode, I usually have it on wide or centered, but wide is totally fine, especially if you're using Sony's camera. Autofocus is so good on these. I usually just keep on wide, but whenever you're not shooting a person or animal, if you have it on center, it's easier to use autofocus because the camera will pretty much confuse, like, they be like, what are you trying to do? What you want to focus on? If you have it on center, it's easier. Anyways, let me demonstrate how I usually shoot between indoors and outdoors. Okay, so now we know the general setting of this camera, and let me show you how I shoot with shooting more of a run and gun type of situation. So let's get to it. So as you guys can tell, today is such a bright day. So whenever I usually shoot in a bright, like super bright condition, and it's very contrasty, and if you on the go, if you're out about shooting a lot of stuff, and especially if you're vlogging and you don't really care about color shifting, you know, white balance shifting and stuff, I usually just set it on auto white balance. If you do not like setting on auto white balance, I highly recommend to set around 5,000 to 6,000 kelvins. Bright day like today, I have 6 to 9 stop PM ND filter. You can do 2 to 5 stop to shoot as well, but you will not achieve a super fast aperture such as like my favorite lens, f1.4. We have a Mr. Sir Gakuen for doing a model for us. And yeah, this is how I shoot under harsh sunlight. So what you want to have is you want to face where the shadow is going towards you, and you want the face of the subject to be in the shadow. So it will not be too bright and the skin is like, you know, just like glowing. The sun has to be right behind the subject. And yeah, I mean, this is too much. So I kind of go like, I won't say diagonal, but the sunlight is like slightly hidden towards the outer line of the subject. You really have to just like tweak how you want the contrast to be. I mean, of course you can set it in your color grading process. However, I just always like to have it in the right amount of contrast straight out the bat from the camera. I really like how the sunshine is glowing on the subject. It looks super beautiful. I usually have the stabilization on standard. I'm not a big fan of action mode. I think if you know, you know. If you know, you know. If you're using Sony cam, I'm not a big fan of action mode. Not a big fan of action mode. So if you can find a spot that you can put your subject in the shadow, that would be the best. First example was like in the very harsh lighting situation. If you put your subject in the shadow, you can like kind of adjust how bright you want the subject to be. I feel like that's like the best situation. Forgot about this, but in Sony's camera, you can set the white balance according to your setting, like situation or like environment. It's like very easy. They show you like this sunny logo, cloudy logo, indoor and stuff. So that's like other option to set up your white balance, but I keep it in auto most of the time. For this one, the subject is completely in the shadow, so I have 2 to 5 stops. And yeah, let's do this. So whenever I'm shooting under a shadow, I really like the blooming of the background when the highlights are just like leaking out of the leaf or like between the building and stuff. So I am also shooting on f1.4 again, and I am on ND5 under a contrasty situation when the highlights are very strong in the background. I feel like that gives like a very cinematic footage, especially if you're shooting fast aperture. It looks absolutely beautiful. Last but certainly not least, this is my favorite way to shoot outdoors, and that's komorebi. Komorebi is a Japanese term from light leaking between leaves and like tree branches. I shoot a lot of outdoor scenes, so this is like my favorite technique, but you can also do this in urban situation as well. If the light is leaking between the buildings, or if you can find like some sort of like light leakage that's like out of the blue, you're just like, well, that looks kind of sick. You just go there and use the technique that I'm about to show you guys. You know how I was talking about set it on auto white balance, but especially in these type of like situation when there's like so many colors like green, brown. So there's like so many colors like green, brown, white, and like blue skies and stuff. Your camera will confuse a lot. If possible, set it your custom white balance, or I usually set it on the sunny logo thing on the white balance setting on Sony's camera. Constant war between the fucking creators and crows. Creators and crows. Creators and crows. So as you guys can see, I like when the light source is hitting directly to the subject's face, but in this case, especially in these type of like a lot of komorebi that's like smaller portion, I like when the strongest highlight is hitting the bottom of the face, but not the actual eyes. I have 2 reasons for this. One, protecting model's eyes, obviously, because you don't want to go blind, but it's
easier to edit later to have the right amount of contrast, because if the footage is too contrasty, it's not gonna be like as easy to edit. So if you can tell the subject's face while having the right amount of contrast, when you're having the strongest contrast off focus of where subject's focus gonna be at, like audience's focus gonna be at, which gonna be subject's eyes. I like it not having too contrasty around the eyes. Not too contrasty, but contrasty on the subject. It looks beautiful.
Filming indoors is extremely hard in my opinion when you're on the go, especially vlogging, because when you're filming outside, it's fairly easy to find your favorite angle, lighting, etc. However, especially when you're filming inside of retail stores or cafes and stuff, it's very hard because the lighting is already set up. So first tip will be set the white balance. Especially when you're filming indoors, there's gonna be so many different types of tungsten light or these type of like designer focus lamp that's like very warm and it looks cool visually, it looks amazing. However, when you're on the go, and especially if you have auto white balance setting on your camera's gonna be confused. The white balance will switch a lot of places and it's gonna be a disaster. So my tip will be find a white wall inside of the cafe or retail store, etc. There's a way to set up your camera's white balance by projecting a white wall or gray wall. However, the easiest way for me is to eyeball it, the custom white balance setting, and try to aim the same color of the whitest place that you can find inside the store. And the second tip will be find a huge light source. This is gonna be very hard because a lot of moody, cool places usually don't really have huge light source or natural light coming in. I'm kind of using a cheat code right now because I'm at my apartment, so I kind of know how the lighting works a little bit, but we have a big ass window that has a lot of natural light coming in, so I just use that. If you can find a natural light source, use that as a key light, and that's like very hard, but you just have to find a good light source that's not too warm or not too cold in your vid, and try to face half of your face towards that key light. The last tip to film indoor is to find a backlight that can be an accent in the footage. So you just have to like find like a small light source that can be an accent light to create more depth in your footage. If you can find two light sources, one as a main light source and the other one as the backlight, this will be golden. This is like the perfect run and gun on the go vlog, but being a little bit cinematic type stuff. Another reason why you want to set the white balance, because I'm using A7C II and it's 10-bit. Even though if it's not a ideal white balance in your footage, you can always fix it just a bit. So if your camera has a 10-bit, I mean even iPhone has a 10-bit now, which is insane. But if your camera's capable of that, at least set the white balance that you can kind of tell that it's similar of what you're looking at the white wall right now, and set it up according to that setting. But yeah, these are the settings that I use for those two situations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit the like button, and if you guys like my video style, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to see more examples from this tutorial, please check out my vlogs, because I usually shoot all my vlogs on the same setting that I just talked about in this video, and I think you guys will love it. But anyway guys, I hope you guys have an amazing day. My name is Peace Gates, and you guys already know. Peace out, guys. Okay, welcome back to another bonus episode. That's crazy. One thing I want to talk about, I usually use a big ass window right next to me for a natural light. I'm too lazy to set up a light, and I really love how natural light looks. So I just use my window in case you're wondering. But today I want to talk about a vintage lens that I purchased recently that I want to really talk about. Let me go grab it. So this is Pentax Takumar 55mm f1.8. This lens, I got it for like 40 bucks. Absolutely insane lens. It's a manual focus lens, so you can't use autofocus, and it's M42 adapter. So you're gonna need, for Sony camera, you're gonna need M42 to E-mount adapter, but the actual lens size is like this big. The one thing I really like about this lens, for one, the price, insane. But for a vintage manual focus lens, you can adapt a filter on it. It's a 49mm filter thread, and I have a 49 to 67 filter adapter to it, so I can put some ND filter on. But my absolute favorite feature about this lens is the lens flare. This thing makes like this beautiful, not only the bokeh is beautiful, but it makes this like super beautiful rainbow looking light ring whenever you hit the light source directly. And bro, it looks so good. I would love to talk about my vintage lens collection, which I only have like 2, but I got the later version. They have 2 versions. They have a new one and the 2nd gen. I got the 2nd gen, and I guess the 2nd gen is more sharp compared to the first one. Whenever I'm using old lens, I really don't care about the sharpness, because that's the beauty of using vintage lens, because it's like warm, soft, looks cinematic, you know. It's nice. I would love to make a video about this. I have many lenses that I would love to make a video about it, and this is the 2nd one. Let me know if you guys want to see more footage from this lens as well. I will like love to film a vlog or some just other random like review video type shit to use this lens. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. But anyways, thank you for watching the bonus section as well. You guys are the real one. You guys are the true one. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. My name is Peace Gates, and I'll see you guys. Have a great day.